A fresh burst of damaging winds is on the way for southeastern Australia, although it's unlikely to be as intense or widespread as what we saw last weekend. Let's take a closer look. Now, the winds are going to be associated with two cold fronts moving across the southeast. The first crossed southwestern Western Australia yesterday and is likely to approach the southeastern states tonight, with winds really increasing from this evening and then through the early hours of tomorrow morning. So widespread gusty winds are likely, with damaging wind gusts about elevated parts of the state and some exposed coastlines. Those winds will ease through the day tomorrow before the next frontal system brings another burst of stronger winds from tomorrow evening going into Friday morning. These are likely to extend back into parts of South Australia as well ahead of this frontal system. The front itself will move through quickly on Friday and then off into the Tasman Sea by the early part of the weekend, leaving us with much more settled weather across southern parts of Australia. Now, our severe weather warnings for damaging winds at the moment cover that first burst of stronger winds. It's covering central and eastern parts of Victoria, those elevated areas, as well as southeast alpine New South Wales. We've also got the surf coast of Victoria included in these warning areas and some of the leeward slopes of the southern part of the Great Dividing Range in New South Wales. So in these areas, that's where we're most likely to see the damaging wind gusts tonight into the early hours of tomorrow morning. But it's worth noting that with that second front and that second burst of strong winds, our warning areas are likely to change and become more extensive, potentially including areas such as the Flinders Ranges in South Australia, much of Gippsland in Victoria, and broader parts of southeastern New South Wales. So it is essential to keep an eye on the Bureau's warnings page over the next couple of days to see how these warnings will be changed and updated as that second system approaches. Now, with the windy conditions ahead of these frontal systems, we're also expecting fairly warm weather. And with warm and windy weather, we're also going to see fire dangers increasing over the next couple of days. Now, today, there's not too much to comment on. We do have high fire dangers for the Western Fire Weather District of Tasmania, but fairly settled conditions across the mainland. From tomorrow, though, we are going to see high fire dangers creeping into the Illawarra Shoalhaven District of New South Wales, as well as the Southwestern District. Temperatures are really starting to increase too. You can see Adelaide getting to 27 degrees tomorrow, 29 in Sydney. But for the East Coast, temperatures and fire dangers will peak on Friday. We are likely to see 30 degrees in Sydney at the end of the week, with high fire dangers on the way for the Greater Sydney and Illawarra Shoalhaven districts. We're going to see these temperatures and fire dangers easing into the weekend as cooler air moves up in the wake of the frontal systems. You can see that cooler air has already reached Adelaide by Friday with a top of just 19 degrees. Now, we are also expecting some rainfall through the next couple of days with these frontal systems. It's generally going to be low to locally moderate rainfall totals across the mainland of Australia as these systems move through, but we may see some locally higher falls through parts of western and northern Tasmania. Now, we saw a lot of rain through Tasmania last week, which did trigger flood warnings across large parts of the state. These have all since been downgraded to minor flood warnings, with river levels easing, but with that rainfall that's to come on Thursday and Friday, we may possibly see further river rises across parts of Tasmania, with further flood watches and warnings potentially to be issued over the next few days. So as this system starts to develop and continues to develop through the next few days, you can stay up to date with all the details via the Bureau's website and social media. Stay safe, and we'll catch you in the next update.